Australia declared war on nature. Nature won.
The year was 1932. Australia, a young nation, found itself at war, not against a foreign power, but against an army of 20,000 large flightless birds laying siege to the wheat fields of Western Australia. To solve this crisis of national security, the Commonwealth sent its best, Major G.P.W. Meredith, armed with the latest tools of industrial warfare. For the Major, this wasn't a military campaign. It was a guaranteed, if somewhat embarrassing, win. They arrived in Campion, a landscape utterly unlike the pleasant offices of Perth. A furnace of red dust and bleached wheat. The mission, so simple on paper, began to feel different under the vast scorching sun. The machine guns were meant for tanks and battalions. Their target? Birds. The inherent absurdity of the situation was starting to take hold. The moment of truth. The modern military machine versus the raw, biological chaos of the Australian outback. The soldiers expected panic. They expected a rout. What they got instead was a masterclass in avian dispersion. The birds didn't run away, they simply ran better. 2,000 rounds fired, 0 military objective achieved. The men were fighting phantom limbs. The next days were a blur of dust and frustration. The army quickly learned that the emus, far from being unintelligent, had precisely gauged the capabilities of the Vickers gun. They understood the 20-yard safe zone. They used the terrain, the dust, and their staggering speed to their advantage. It was a high-speed chase where the predator became the ridiculed prey. Then the whispers began. The soldiers started seeing coordination, recognizing command, and in the twilight, Sergeant Slewfoot came face to face with the avian architect of the resistance, a creature of unnerving stillness that didn't flee, but assessed. The psychological warfare had begun, and the advantage belonged entirely to the birds. Faced with humiliation, Major Meredith retreated to the oldest trick in the military playbook, the bottleneck. A desperate, exhausting effort to impose order on a foe that refused to respect boundaries or logic. They built a trap, and now all they could do was wait, hoping the emus would be kind enough to walk directly into it. All the tension, all the wasted ammunition, all the political embarrassment culminated in this single moment. The earth began to rumble. This was their chance. For Major Meredith, this was the defining moment that would save his career, and perhaps the reputation of the entire Australian military. But the birds had learned from every mistake the humans had made. And where the Major saw a simple funnel, the Emu General saw a flanking opportunity. The booming command was given, and the attack was not on the crops, but on the soldiers themselves. The military was outflanked, outmaneuvered, and caught in a blinding storm of red dust and feathers. A full-scale, disorganized rout. The pride of the Australian military was forced to abandon its position, fleeing in utter disgrace from a creature incapable of flight. The final insult came not from a bullet, but from a triumphant feathered trophy. The final piece of Meredith's broken authority. The emus had sent a clear message. Weeks later, the official report was submitted, a masterpiece of bureaucratic spin and self-delusion. 10,000 rounds of ammunition expended, fewer than 300 kills. Major Meredith's promise of swift, decisive victory ended in an ignominious retreat and a lost hat. The Emu War of 1932 passed into history, a stark lesson that sometimes the most sophisticated weapons are no match for sheer, unpredictable stubbornness. The birds, after all, simply wanted their grain back. If you enjoy this video, deploy your fingers to the like and subscribe buttons before the general strikes back.